Captain Tay stood on the bridge of the research vessel Morning Star, watching the stars drift past through the main viewport. His crew had been out here for 3 months now, studying the strange energy readings near the outer rim. It was supposed to be a routine mission. Nothing dangerous, just science work, far away from any conflict zones. He was wrong. The first warning came from Hai, the communications officer. She looked up from her console with wide eyes. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. "Captain, we have contacts," he said. Her voice was calm, but Tay could hear the edge of worry in it. 6 ships. No, wait, 9 ships. They just appeared out of nowhere. Tay moved to her station. The radar screen showed red dots surrounding them in a perfect circle. His stomach dropped. This was not good. "Can you identify them?" "Running the scan now," Hai replied. A moment later, her face went pale. "Captain, they are Vrix collective ships. They are powering weapons." The Vrix. Tay knew about them. Everyone in human space knew about them. They were raiders and slavers who operated in the lawless zones between civilized space. But they had never attacked humans before. There had been no reason to. Until now. "All hands battle stations," Tay shouted. Alarms began to blare throughout the ship, but even as he gave the order, he knew it was useless. The Morning Star was a research vessel. It had basic shields and maybe 2 small defense guns. Against 9 Vrix warships, they had no chance. The view screen flickered to life. A face appeared on it. The creature was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 eyes that glowed with a sickly yellow light. Its mouth opened to reveal rows of sharp teeth. "Human vessel, you are surrounded. Power down your engines and surrender immediately. Any resistance will result in your destruction." Tay looked at his crew. There were only 12 people on board. Scientists, engineers, 1 communications officer. Not soldiers, not fighters. He had no choice. He nodded slowly. "We surrender," he said quietly. But Hay was already moving. Her fingers flew across her console, working at a speed Tay had never seen before. She was sending something. A signal. The Vrix had not noticed yet. They were too busy celebrating their easy victory. Tay caught her eye and gave her the smallest nod. She understood. Whatever happened next, at least someone would know what happened to them. The boarding was quick and brutal. Vrix soldiers poured through the airlocks, their weapons trained on every human they found. They forced the crew into the cargo bay, making them kneel in a line. Tay counted his people. All 12 were here, all alive. For now. The Vrix commander walked into the cargo bay. He was taller than the others, with scars across his gray face. He looked at the humans like they were merchandise, like they were things to be bought and sold. "You are now prisoners of the Vrix Collective," the commander said. His voice was rough and grating. "Your government will be contacted. They will pay for your return. They will also provide us with technology and resources. If they refuse, you will be sold as slaves. If they try to rescue you, you will be executed. Do you understand?" Tay said nothing. He kept his face blank. He had been trained for situations like this, though he never thought he would actually face one. The important thing was to stay calm. Stay alive. Give the people back home time to respond. The commander smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "We have done this many times before, with the Kelvar, with the throne, with the Prill. Every time their governments paid. Every time we got what we wanted. Your human government will be no different. You are valuable to them. They will negotiate." He walked closer to Tay, bending down until they were face to face. His breath smelled like rotting meat. 4 yellow eyes stared into Tay's too. "In 3 days, we will send our demands to your people. They will have 1 week to respond. I suggest you hope they care about you. The slave markets pay very little for humans. You are too soft, too weak. But perhaps someone will want you for entertainment." The Vrix soldiers laughed. It was a horrible sound, like metal scraping on stone. They grabbed the humans and dragged them to holding cells deep in the Vrix flagship. The cells were small and dark, with barely enough room to stand. Tay was thrown into one alone. The door slammed shut with a heavy clang. He sat on the cold metal floor and closed his eyes. He thought about Hayes' signal. He thought about the human fleet. He thought about Protocol Zero. Every human in the military knew about it. Every captain was briefed on it. But most people thought it was just talk. Just words meant to scare enemies. The protocol was simple. Humanity does not negotiate with hostage takers. Ever. Not for any reason. Not at any cost. The official policy was clear. Anyone who took humans hostage would face immediate and overwhelming military response. Not negotiation. Not diplomacy. War. But that was in theory. Would they really do it? Would they really risk the lives of 12 civilians to make a point? Tay did not know. He wanted to believe they would come. He wanted to believe that humanity meant what it said. But doubt crept into his mind. What if the Vrix commander was right? What if Earth decided that negotiation was the safer choice? Somewhere in the darkness of his cell, Tay heard screaming. One of his crew was being interrogated. The sound made his blood run cold. He clenched his fists and pressed them against his ears, but he could still hear it. The screaming went on for a long time. When it finally stopped, silence fell over the ship. An oppressive, terrible silence. Tay opened his eyes and stared at the darkness. All he could do now was wait. Wait and hope that Hayes' signal had reached home. Wait and hope that someone was coming. Wait and hope that the galaxy was about to learn a very important lesson about humanity. Admiral Jin was in her office when the alert came through. She had been reviewing supply reports, boring paperwork that came with running the Third Fleet. The sudden blaring of the priority alarm made her drop her tablet. Red lights flashed across every screen in the room. She hit the intercom button. "Report! Admiral, we have received a distress signal from the Morning Star," her second officer said. His voice was tight. "It is coded. Protocol Zero, ma'am." Jin felt her blood turn to ice. Protocol Zero. Those two words changed everything. She had hoped she would never hear them. Every officer in the human fleet hoped the same thing. But the protocol existed for a reason. And now it had been activated. Lock down the command center. Get me all senior staff. Now. She was already moving toward the door, her mind racing through the procedures she had memorized years ago. Procedures she had practiced but never used. Until today, the command center was chaos when she arrived. Officers rushed between stations. Screens showed star maps and ship positions. Someone was shouting orders about mobilization. Jin walked to the central platform and the room immediately went silent. Everyone turned to look at her. "Give me the details," she said. Her intelligence officer stepped forward. He looked pale. In his hands was a datapad that he kept glancing at like he could not believe what he was reading. The Morning Star was conducting research in Sector 7-9. They were ambushed by 9 Vrix collective warships. Communications Officer Hay managed to send a coded burst transmission before they were boarded. The signal was clear. "The Vrix have taken the entire crew hostage. Casualties?" Jin asked, unknown. "We believe all 12 crew members are alive. For now." Jin nodded slowly. 12 people. 12 human lives hanging in the balance. She thought about their families. Their friends. People who would be expecting them to come home. People who would demand that Earth do everything possible to save them. But Protocol Zero was not about doing everything possible. It was about sending a message. A message written in fire and blood. "Activate Protocol Zero," she said. Her voice was steady, cold. "Full implementation." No exceptions, the room exploded into activity. Officers began pulling up fleet positions. Others started calculating jump coordinates. The communications station lit up as messages went out to every human ship within 3 sectors. This was it. This was the moment that would define humanity's reputation in the galaxy for generations to come. "Admiral, we have incoming communication from the Kelvar ambassador," someone called out. "He is requesting an urgent meeting." "Put him through," Jin said. The main screen flickered. A face appeared. The Kelvar were a peaceful species, traders and diplomats. The ambassador looked worried. His blue skin was darker than usual, a sign of stress among his people. Admiral Jin, I have heard the news about your missing ship. Please, you must listen to reason. The Vrix will make demands. This is what they do. My own people have dealt with them before. We paid their ransom. Our people came home safely. This is the way these things are handled. With respect, Ambassador, humanity handles things differently, Jin replied. The ambassador's eyes widened. You cannot be serious. You would risk the lives of your people rather than negotiate? This is madness. The Vrix have done this dozens of times. They know how to keep hostages alive. They know how to make deals. But if you attack, they will kill everyone. Please reconsider. We have considered it, Jin said. Our decision is final. We do not negotiate with hostage takers. This policy is absolute, but why? The ambassador looked genuinely confused. Why would you have such a policy? It makes no sense. Jin leaned forward. Her eyes were hard as steel. Because, Ambassador, if we negotiate once, it will happen again. And again. And again. Every pirate and raider in the galaxy will see humans as easy targets. They will know that all they need to do is grab one of our ships and we will give them whatever they want. We will not allow that to happen. But your people will die, the ambassador cried. Perhaps, Jin acknowledged. But the Vrix will die too. Every single one of them. And the next group that thinks about taking humans hostage will remember what happened to the Vrix. They will think twice. They will choose different targets. In the long run, our policy will save more lives than it costs. The ambassador opened his mouth, then closed it again. He looked at Jin like she was something alien and terrifying. Finally, he shook his head. I pray you know what you are doing, Admiral, for all our sakes. The screen went dark. Jin turned to her officers. They were all watching her, waiting for orders. She saw doubt in some faces, fear in others, but also determination. They understood. They knew what had to be done. Get me Engineer Saul and Commander Quan. We have work to do. Saul arrived first. He was young for a chief engineer, barely 30 but brilliant. He had designed half the weapon systems on the Third Fleet ships. When Jin explained the situation, his face went pale, but he nodded. I will need to modify the breach pods, he said immediately. The Vrix hulls are thicker than standard. We will need extra cutting power. Give me 4 hours. You have 2, Jin replied. Commander Quan arrived next. The Marine commander was built like a tank, with scars across his face from a dozen battles. He listened to the briefing without expression. When Jin finished, he simply asked one question. How many Marines can I take? All of them, Jin said. For the first time, Quan smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just spotted prey. Ma'am, with respect, the Vrix are about to have a very bad day. Jin nodded. She looked at the star map on the main screen. Somewhere out there, 12 humans were waiting, hoping, praying that someone would come for them. They would not have to wait long. Send the order, she said. All ships. Maximum speed. We leave in 1 hour. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you took humans hostage. It was about to learn that humanity did not negotiate, did not compromise, did not back down. It was about to learn that when you touched one human, you declared war on all of them. The Vrix flagship was called the Reaper of Mercy. It was a name meant to inspire fear. For decades it had worked. The ship had raided dozens of systems, captured hundreds of prisoners, and made the Vrix collective rich beyond measure. Today would be different. On the bridge, the Vrix commander sat in his chair, pleased with himself. The humans had been secured. The message had been prepared. In a few hours, he would send his demands to Earth. He expected full compliance within a week. It was always the same. The weaker species always paid. Commander? His sensor operator suddenly jumped to his feet. I have contacts. Multiple contacts dropping out of FTL. The commander frowned. How many? The operator stared at his screen. His hands shook. 15 ships, sir. No, wait. More are arriving. 20 ships, 25. They are all human warships. The commander stood up so fast his chair fell over. That was impossible. They had only taken the hostages 18 hours ago. No one could mobilize a fleet that quickly. It took days, sometimes weeks, to organize a military response, and yet here they were. Shields up, battle stations, he shouted. Get me a communication link to the human fleet. The view screen activated. A human face appeared. It was Admiral Jin. She looked at the Vrix commander with eyes that held no warmth, no mercy, no humanity at all. She looked at him the way a farmer looks at an insect about to be crushed. Human fleet, we have your people on board this ship, the commander said quickly. If you attack us, we will kill them all. I suggest we negotiate. We can reach an agreement that benefits everyone. There is no need for violence. Jin smiled. It was a terrible thing to see. You seem to misunderstand the situation. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to retrieve our people and eliminate every Vrix ship in this system. You have 30 seconds to release the hostages. After that, we open fire. You are insane, the commander screamed. We will kill them. Do you not care about your own people? 20 seconds, Jin replied. The commander looked around wildly. His officers stared back at him with panic in their eyes. This was not how it was supposed to go. The other species had always negotiated, always paid. Why were the humans different? 10 seconds, Jin said. Her voice was calm, emotionless, like she was reading a weather report instead of counting down to mass death. Wait, we can talk about this. We can make a deal. 5 seconds. Release the hostages, the commander screamed at his crew. Release them now. Jin held up one hand. Hold fire. She looked directly at the commander. You just made the smartest decision of your very short life. But it is too late. The attack has already begun. The commander started to ask what she meant. Then his sensor operator screamed. On the radar display, hundreds of small objects were racing toward the Vrix ships. They were moving impossibly fast. Too small to be ships, but too large to be missiles. Breach pods. The humans were using breach pods. Pilot Na sat in the cockpit of her fighter, her hands steady on the controls. She was leading the first wave. Behind her were 50 more fighters, each carrying 2 breach pods loaded with Marines. This was the most dangerous part. They had to get close enough to the Vrix flagship to deploy the pods without getting shot down. All wings execute pattern Delta 7, she said into her comm. Stay tight. Do not give them a target. Go. Her fighter dove toward the Vrix flagship. Red beams of energy shot past her cockpit. The Vrix point defense guns were firing wildly, trying to hit the swarming human fighters. But Na had trained for this. She rolled and twisted, her fighter dancing through the deadly light show like it was nothing. Approaching drop zone, she announced. 3 seconds. 2, 1, deploy. The breach pods shot out from under her fighter. They were small cylinders with powerful magnetic clamps and plasma cutters. They slammed into the hull of the Vrix flagship with loud clangs that echoed through space. Within seconds, they began cutting through the armor. Inside one of the pods, Commander Quan waited with his team. The red light above his head was flashing. That meant the cutter was working. In a moment, they would be inside the enemy ship. Then the real work would begin. The light turned green. The bottom of the pod fell away. Quan dropped through the hole, landing hard on the deck of the Vrix ship. His Marines followed him, weapons ready. They were inside a cargo bay. 3 Vrix soldiers stood there, staring at them in shock. Quan did not give them time to react. His rifle barked 3 times. The Vrix fell. He moved forward, his team spreading out behind him. Alpha team, secure the engine room. Bravo team, find the hostages. Charlie team, with me. We are going to the bridge. His voice was calm, professional. This was just another day at work. Throughout the ship, the same scene repeated itself. Breach pods cut through the hull. Marines poured inside. The Vrix tried to fight back, but they were not prepared for this. They were raiders, not soldiers. They picked on the weak, not the strong. And now they were facing the strongest military force in known space. The fighting was brutal and short. The Marines moved through the ship like a flood, unstoppable and merciless. Every corridor they entered became a killing ground. Every room they breached became a tomb. The Vrix commander watched from his bridge, as section after section of his ship went dark on the status board. How long until they reach the hostages? He demanded. His tactical officer did not answer. The officer was staring at his screen in horror. Sir, the humans are not going to the hostages. They are coming here, to the bridge. The commander felt ice run through his veins. They were not trying to rescue the hostages. They were hunting him, hunting every Vrix on this ship. This was not a rescue operation. This was an execution. Seal the bridge. Get security teams to every access point. We have to hold them back. But even as he gave the orders, he knew it was useless. The humans were coming. Nothing would stop them. Commander Quan stood outside the bridge door. He could hear the Vrix scrambling inside, trying to set up defenses. He looked at his Marines. They looked back at him. No words were needed. They all knew what to do. Engineer Saul's modifications to the breach pods had worked perfectly. The plasma cutters were not just for ship hulls. Quan attached one to the bridge door. The metal began to glow red, then white, breaching in 3, 2, 1. The door exploded inward. Through the smoke and flames, the Marines charged. The Vrix fired back wildly, but their shots went wide. Human armor was better. Human weapons were better. Human training was better. Within 30 seconds, every Vrix on the bridge was dead. Except the commander. Quan walked up to him slowly. The Vrix was on his knees, all 4 eyes wide with terror. He opened his mouth to beg for mercy. Quan shot him between the eyes. The commander fell backward, dead before he hit the floor. Bridge secured, Quan reported calmly. Moving to hostage location now. The swarm had arrived. The swarm had conquered. And the swarm was not done yet. Captain Tay heard the explosions. They were distant at first, muffled by the thick walls of his cell. But they were getting closer, louder. Something was happening. Something big. The door to his cell burst open. A Vrix guard stood there, weapon raised. The alien looked terrified. Its 4 eyes darted back and forth, searching for threats in the shadows. "On your feet, human," the guard hissed. "We are moving you to a secure location." Tay stood slowly. His body ached from sitting on the cold metal floor for so long. But his mind was sharp, alert. The Vrix was scared. That meant something had gone wrong. That meant help might be coming. The guard grabbed his arm and pulled him into the corridor. The other hostages were being brought out of their cells too. Tay saw Hay. She had a bruise on her face, but her eyes were bright. She gave him a small nod. She had heard the explosions too. She knew what they meant. The Vrix herded them down the corridor at gunpoint. More explosions echoed through the ship. Closer now, much closer. The lights flickered. Somewhere an alarm started blaring. "Move faster," the lead guard shouted. But its voice cracked with fear. It knew, they all knew. The ship was under attack. And they were losing. They turned a corner. Ahead, a massive metal blast door blocked the corridor. The guards were trying to open it, their clawed hands working frantically at the controls. But the door would not budge. The system was damaged. Override it. Override it now, the lead guard screamed. Behind them, something exploded. The force of it knocked everyone to the ground. Tay hit the deck hard, his ears ringing. Through the smoke and dust, he saw figures moving. Human figures. Armored Marines with weapons raised. Hostages down. Hostages down, someone shouted. It was a human voice, speaking English. Tay felt tears spring to his eyes. They had come. They had actually come. The Marines moved with incredible speed and precision. The Vrix guards tried to fight back, but they never had a chance. Weapons fire lit up the corridor. When the smoke cleared, all the guards were dead. A Marine knelt beside Tay. Through the helmet visor, he could see a young woman's face. She looked calm. "Professional, Captain Tay?" she asked. "Yes," he managed to say. His voice was hoarse. "My crew all accounted for. We are getting you out of here. Can you walk?" Tay nodded. The Marine helped him to his feet. Around him, other Marines were checking on his crew. One of them was kneeling beside a young man who looked badly hurt. He was calling for someone named Bo. Medic Bo arrived seconds later. He moved with the calm efficiency of someone who had done this 1,000 times. His hands worked quickly, checking vitals, applying bandages, injecting medicine. The injured crew member gasped in relief as the pain medication took effect. "He will make it," Bo said, "but we need to move now." Commander Quan's voice came over the Marine comm system. It broadcast through the speakers in every Marine helmet. Tay could hear it too from the nearby Marines. "All teams, status report. Alpha team, engine room secured. Bravo team, hostages secured and moving to extraction point. Charlie team, bridge secured. All hostiles neutralized. Delta through Foxtrot teams, all sectors clear." "Copy all," Quan replied. "Begin withdrawal. Bring our people home." The Marines formed a protective circle around the hostages. They moved back through the ship, retracing their path of destruction. Everywhere Tay looked, he saw dead Vrix. The Marines had swept through this vessel like a storm, leaving nothing alive in their wake. They reached the breach point, the hole in the hull where the Marines had entered. Through it, Tay could see stars and human ships. So many human ships. The entire Third Fleet must be out there. Everyone into the transport pod, the lead Marine ordered. Move quickly but carefully. The decompression field will protect you, but stay close together. One by one, the hostages climbed into the transport pod. It was cramped and uncomfortable, but Tay had never been happier to be uncomfortable in his life. Hay squeezed his hand as they sat down. Her eyes were wet with tears. "We made it," she whispered. "They came for us. I never doubted they would," Tay lied. But it did not matter now. They were safe. They were going home. The pod detached from the Vrix hull with a soft thunk. Through the small window, Tay watched the flagship grow smaller. Marines were still pouring out of it, returning to their own ships. The operation had taken 17 minutes from start to finish. 17 minutes to rescue 12 people from a heavily armed warship. The transport pod docked with a human destroyer. The airlock opened. Fresh air rushed in, and Tay took a deep breath. It smelled like home, like safety, like victory. A ship's officer greeted them. She smiled warmly. Behind her, medical personnel waited with stretchers and equipment. "Welcome back, Captain. Let us get you to medical." "Wait," Tay said. He turned to look at the view screen on the wall. It showed the tactical display. The Vrix ships were surrounded by human vessels. There were 9 Vrix ships. There were 30 human ships. The math was simple. The outcome was inevitable. "What happens now?" he asked. The officer's smile faded. Her expression became cold, hard. It was the same expression Tay had seen on Admiral Jin's face in training videos. The look of someone who was about to do something terrible and necessary. "Now," she said quietly. "Now we send a message." On the tactical display, the human ships opened fire. All of them, at once. The Vrix vessels tried to flee, but there was nowhere to run. The human fleet had positioned itself perfectly. Every escape route was blocked. Every angle was covered. It was not a battle. It was an execution. One by one, the Vrix ships exploded. Brilliant flashes of light marked their deaths. In less than 5 minutes, all 9 ships were gone. Destroyed completely. No survivors. No escape pods. No mercy. Tay stared at the display. He should have felt horror. Should have felt shock at the complete annihilation of an entire fleet. But all he felt was satisfaction. The Vrix had made a choice. They had chosen to take humans hostage. Now they had paid the price for that choice. Hay stood beside him, watching the same display. She reached out and took his hand again. "They came for us," she said again. "They really came. They always will," Tay replied. And finally he believed it. Humanity took care of its own. No matter the cost. No matter the risk. When you touched one human, you made an enemy of them all. It was a lesson the Vrix had learned too late, but it was a lesson the rest of the galaxy would remember forever. Diplomat Rin stood in the broadcast center of the human embassy, watching the technicians make final adjustments to the equipment. She was young for a diplomat, only 32, but she had been chosen for this assignment because of her skill with words. Today those words would reach every corner of known space. Today humanity would make its position clear to the entire galaxy. The chief technician gave her a thumbs up. The broadcast system was ready. Rin took a deep breath and stepped in front of the camera. Behind her, a massive view screen showed footage from the Vrix system. Wreckage floating in space, debris fields where ships had once been, the complete and total destruction of the entire Vrix collective fleet. The red light on the camera turned green. "She was live, people of the galaxy," she began. Her voice was calm, measured. "I am Diplomat Rin, speaking on behalf of the United Human Government. I am here today to address a recent incident involving human civilians and the organization known as the Vrix Collective." She paused, letting the words sink in. Across the galaxy, billions of beings were watching. The broadcast was being transmitted on every major communication channel, in every known language. Everyone would hear this message. 18 hours ago, the Vrix Collective ambushed and captured the human research vessel Morning Star. They took 12 human civilians hostage. They intended to ransom these people back to Earth in exchange for money, technology, and resources. This action was a grave mistake. Rin stepped closer to the camera. Her expression was serious. Hard. I want to be perfectly clear about something. Humanity does not negotiate with hostage takers. This is not a suggestion. This is not a guideline. This is absolute policy. When someone takes humans hostage, they do not get negotiations. They do not get diplomacy. They get war. Behind her, the view screen changed. It now showed footage from the rescue operation. Human warships dropping out of FTL. Marines breaching the VRIX flagship. The systematic destruction of every VRIX vessel in the system. Within 24 hours of the kidnapping, we deployed a full military fleet to the VRIX system. Our Marines executed a precision rescue operation. All 12 hostages were recovered alive. The operation took 17 minutes from start to finish. Rin's voice hardened. Following the rescue, all VRIX ships in the system were destroyed. There were no survivors. No prisoners were taken. This is the price of taking humans hostage. Complete annihilation. She knew that many species would be horrified by this. The Kelvar ambassador had already filed a formal protest, calling the human response excessive and barbaric. The throne delegation had expressed shock and concern. Even some human politicians had questioned whether such extreme measures were necessary, but Rin understood. She understood what Admiral Jin and the military leaders knew. This was not about revenge. This was about deterrence. This was about making sure it never happened again. I know that many of you watching this will think our response was extreme, she continued. You will say that we could have negotiated. You will say that we could have saved lives through diplomacy. You will point to your own experiences with similar situations, where paying ransom led to peaceful resolutions. She leaned forward slightly. But consider this. How many times has your species paid ransom? How many times have you negotiated with pirates and slavers? And how many times have they come back for more? Because that is what happens when you show weakness, when you prove that kidnapping works, when you demonstrate that all someone needs to do is grab your people and you will give them whatever they want. The view screen behind her changed again. This time it showed statistics, numbers, data about kidnapping incidents across the galaxy. The numbers were staggering. Thousands of incidents every year. Tens of thousands of victims. Humanity has studied this problem carefully. We have watched how other species handle hostage situations. We have seen the pattern. You negotiate once and it encourages more kidnappings. You pay once and the price goes up next time. You show mercy and predators see weakness. Rin's expression softened slightly. Her voice became less harsh, more understanding. We understand that other species choose different approaches. We respect your sovereignty and your right to handle your own affairs as you see fit. But humanity has chosen a different path. We have decided that the best way to protect our people is to make targeting them so dangerous, so costly that no one will dare try. She straightened up, her voice becoming formal again. This broadcast serves as official notice to all species, all organizations, all individuals in known space. If you take humans hostage, we will not negotiate. We will not pay ransom. We will not engage in diplomacy. We will respond with immediate and overwhelming military force. We will rescue our people. And we will eliminate every single person responsible for their capture. This policy is non-negotiable. It applies to everyone, everywhere, without exception. We do not care how powerful you are. We do not care about your reasons. We do not care about your excuses. Touch a human and you have declared war on all of humanity. Behind her, the view screen showed one final image. The wreckage of the VRIX flagship still burning in the void of space. A stark reminder of what happened to those who tested humanity's resolve. We hope this message is clear, Rin concluded. We hope that no one else will make the same mistake the VRIX made. But if they do, the result will be the same. Swift, decisive, final. The camera light turned red. The broadcast was over. Rin let out a long breath and stepped away from the camera. The chief technician was already pulling up viewership numbers. The broadcast had reached an estimated 400 billion beings across 47 different species. The message had been delivered. Now they would see if anyone had been listening. 3 weeks later, Rin sat in her office reviewing reports. The galaxy had responded to the broadcast in predictable ways. The Kelvar were still protesting. The throne had withdrawn their ambassador in disgust. Several minor species had condemned humanity's actions as barbaric and excessive, but there was another report on her desk. This one was more interesting. It came from galactic law enforcement agencies. It showed kidnapping statistics for the past 3 weeks. Incidents involving human targets had dropped to 0. Not a single attempted kidnapping. Not one hostage situation. Not even a threat. The galaxy's pirates, slavers, and raiders had gotten the message loud and clear. Humans were off limits. Rin allowed herself a small smile. The other species could protest all they wanted. They could call humans violent and barbaric. They could condemn the destruction of the Vrix fleet. But none of them could argue with the results. A message appeared on her screen. It was from Captain Tay. He had returned to duty and was preparing to take the Morning Star back out for another research mission. The message was short. Thank you, it read, for everything. We are not afraid anymore. Rin closed the message and looked out the window of her office. She could see the spaceport in the distance. Ships coming and going. Human ships traveling freely through the galaxy without fear, without looking over their shoulders, without wondering if today would be the day they were targeted. The price had been high. 9 Vrix ships destroyed. Hundreds of lives ended in a matter of minutes. The diplomatic fallout would take years to fully resolve, but the cost of doing nothing would have been higher. Every human ship that traveled through space would have been a target. Every human civilian would have been potential merchandise for slavers and pirates. By responding with overwhelming force, humanity had sent a message that would echo across the galaxy for generations. A message that would protect countless lives. A message that would ensure no human would ever have to fear being taken hostage again. The message was simple. The message was clear. The message was absolute. Dear aliens, we do not do hostage negotiations, and the galaxy would never forget it.